Greetings, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be from. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Friday Morning at the Funhouse with Martin Popoff, +1 today. It's Viewer Appreciation Day today. So in addition to Martin and myself, we have longtime viewer of the channel from the great state of Michigan, Nick Yousoufian. Welcome, Nick. How's it going?
Doing good, Pete. How are you? Ready to rock and roll today?
Excellent. All right. Good deal. Good deal. It's a bright, sunny morning here in New York. Probably right now, maybe about 25 degrees. It's actually going to go up to about 50 today. The snow's going to melt, and then tomorrow, bam, back down to the 20s. So that's how we work in New York.
It's pretty much around freezing here too. I got out for a jog the other day and a haircut. So
see that.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so it's almost weather to start exercising again. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm not getting too excited, so we'll get there because that's how it works in New York. It's like give you these little teases of warm weather, and they're like, "No, winter's still here." How about by you, Nick?
Currently, it's about 36 degrees. There's about 4 to 6 inches of snow. Maybe we'll get some more, maybe not. You never know because we're surrounded by 5 Great Lakes, and we always get unexpected weather.
Absolutely.
Nick is always very kind to kind of send that weather down my way. Usually that's how it works. I think it generates up near Martin and works its way down, sweeps across to the East Coast and then out to sea. So sometimes we get lucky and it blows out to sea before it hits me, but not always, not always. So today we've got a very fun show for you, a show that has been asked for many, many times by lots of people over the years. And for whatever reason, we've just never tackled this or talked about it, but it's all about box sets today. For us collectors, box sets are kind of like the holy grails. There's many forms of box sets. You get box sets that have all completely unreleased material or stuff from the vaults that you've been waiting for years. Some box sets are strictly like glorified greatest hits sets. Some are just big live compilations. So hopefully we have a little bit of everything today. And what we've done is we've each gone into our collections and picked out maybe our favorite 5 or the 5 most notable, the ones we're really digging on the most right now. And so seeing as today's his first time on Sea of Tranquility, we're going to have Nick go first with his first selection of the day.
All right. Well, I was looking around. I've been kind of in the mood of collecting lately, and I've always wanted to get into Eloy. And Eloy's, a band that's on the periphery of people knowing them, not knowing them. What better way than the Classic Years trilogy right here, which contains everything from Dawn. Shows you how prepared I am this morning. Ocean and Silent Cries and Mighty Echoes. I may as well actually show the darn thing. You got the gatefold. You got the actual vinyl inside here. Let's see. You got the same thing for arguably my favorite, with arguably the coolest artwork. It seems like Neptune is missing his head for some reason.
Yeah, Ocean that's pretty glorious album art.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Cool.
Yeah, nice metallic hue to it. As my phone falls, sorry about that. Hopefully that's
welcome to Sea of Tranquility, Nick.
I got one more. Silent Cries and Mighty Echoes again. Some nice artwork.
My personal favorite of the catalog.
Yes, and of course the CD version.
So you get all the vinyl and all the CDs in that set.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty nice.
Yeah.
3 of them. So this is kind of like a collection of the earlier stuff that people have been craving. If you don't want to pay $100 for the vinyl, you may as well just go and find this on eBay or Discogs or whatever. And it's actually a really good deal. It's really nice box set.
Was that your first kind of dive into Eloy?
Yes.
All right. Smart move.
Yeah.
You get basically all the greatest stuff there.
Exactly.
Very nice. Cool. That's a good set. Martin, what do you got?
All right. Well, actually, before I get started, I wanted to mention that this just arrived last night. This is Tim Derling's new book, Unspooled, which I did the forward for it. He's a regular Contrarians guy, but it's essentially the history of 8-track tapes. Look at that. And so this was done as a big Kickstarter thing, and I think everybody's getting theirs now, but now he's trying to figure out how to make more of them and what to do with it. But yeah, they just went all out and did a beautiful job on it. So that's that. And he sent as a thank you a bunch of Max Webster 8-tracks. Check it out.
Very cool.
Kind of cool, eh?
Yeah.
It's actually the entire collection except for Universal Juveniles, and then
nice paper stock on that book. I mean, real shiny, glossy paper.
Really beautiful. Yeah. So now I'm going to talk to him about how to make more and stuff. He's talking about Amazon or whatever. But yeah, it's just a complete history. He's one of the big 8-track collectors in the world, sort of thing, and he goes through the entire. Yeah, absolutely nerds out about the entire. When it stopped being made and record club and all that kind of stuff. So it's neat, cool pictures as well. But okay, so my first selection is I went with the Roxy Music, the complete studio recordings. That's the kind of title that I want on a box set. So this is one of those situations where, all through the years I've owned all the vinyl, and in one fell swoop, it's nice to just be able to get all this stuff all at once. It comes in a nice little thing like that, and there you go, all of them in beautiful kind of Japanese style heavy cardboard, reproducing the artwork and stuff. The inner sleeves are all in here, so it's kind of like a Japanese card sleeve sort of feel to the whole thing. You get every single album all in one thing, all in one place, in a box that kind of stores nicely. And then you get also the singles and B-sides. These guys didn't have a lot of stuff in terms of rarities, but yeah, just really nice to get that all in one very compact place. That's kind of one of the things I really like to see out of a box set, is just give me the whole damn thing all the damn time, right? So there you go.
Yeah, that's nice. That's
beautiful little box, eh?
Yeah, I like that. Those are cool. I have a few of those here too as well. Yeah. All right, so I guess I'll start with this one first. I guess this one was released in 1993. It's actually, I should have dusted it off. It's a little dusty, so it's sitting in my closet here. It's funny because at the time when this was released, I thought this was a really cool box set, but I took it out before and I started looking through it, and I'm like, it's kind of not made all that well, but it's lasted all these years. So it's the 25th anniversary Jethro Tull box set.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think anybody has had more box sets than Jethro Tull, right? I mean, I think we can safely say that. So this, like I said, was released at the 25th anniversary, 1993. And there's the back. And it comes in this kind of this like, I guess they call this a cigar box type of thing, right? And there you have the booklet with the cigars on it, everything, right? But just so folks can get an idea of what was on this. So you had disc 1, classic songs remixed. Disc 2, the infamous Carnegie Hall live show from 1970. Disc 3, the Beacons Bottoms tapes, some different versions of some classic songs. And then disc 4, Potpourri, which is live across the world and through the years, a whole bunch of live tracks of, some more notable songs, some, not, but I do want to show the inside of the box here. So I think a cool concept for the time, but the box itself is in kind of, not the great. It's kind of,
it breaks up. So.
Yeah,
it was kind of a weak one. Everybody's got busted after a while.
Yeah, I'm amazed mine is still in like somewhat decent shape, but I guess I've taken fairly good care of it. And then you have the booklet, and this was a time, the 90s were a weird time because bands were coming out with box sets left and right. And there were all sorts of weird shapes and sizes. So like if you're a collector and you're trying to keep things in an orderly fashion somewhere, you go out of your mind. I used to be ripping my hair out because every box set I bought was shaped completely different. Some were just massive, some were long box type of thing, some were short and stubby. So I remember I had like a box set shelf and nothing fit, and everything just, you had something like this, then you had some that were round and boxy, some that were twice the size of this, and it's like, how do you store this stuff, right? And that's why after a while I stopped buying, because I'm like, geez, where am I going to put these? You can't put them on a shelf because they don't fit on a shelf, or they don't fit nicely on a shelf. But pretty cool concept. You got like that there, and I don't know. I just thought it was neat. And again, this is a time where Tull was coming out with a box set every couple of years, it seemed. But the content on this is really good. I mean, there's some good stuff on here. to be honest, I haven't listened to this in years, because that's the thing with Tull. They would release these box sets, and then like years later, you would get all the same stuff that were on the box sets and other various reissues and box sets.
Beautiful reissues, because they're one of the best bands for reissuing the albums on their own, right? So it makes all that old stuff redundant, right?
Yeah, and I purposefully pulled this out today and not one of the recent box sets, because I've shown them off so much here on the channel. But quite frankly, if you're going to do a box set in today's day and age, basically, and excuse me, running off camera here, but this is how you do it, folks. This is how you do it. Nice and book style format. And, you know, I mean, come on. Doesn't get much better than that. You got a full like 100-page book built into the box set, and then you got you know, the remix CD and remastered CD, live tracks, live DVDs, the full albums on Blu-ray or DVD and surround sound. I mean, this is how you do a box set.
Yeah.
And I think Jethro Tull has set the gold standard. Marillion's been doing, I believe Parlophone does for both bands. That's how you do a box set nowadays. And it's funny because you look back on the 90s and how you got all these weird configurations. And I think they finally got it after all these years. But so there you go. Back to Nick.
Nice. All righty. More on Jethro Tull later. So you're talking about box sets, like, you know, Hawkwind is always one of those bands. They've always put out these boxes, including that Chasing Time 6-disc one, which is really beautiful. But, you know, sometimes a person wants a certain specific range of, this is one from like 5 years ago. This is Your Captain speaking. Your Captain is Dead. The album's in singles 1970 to 1979. And it's a good compilation, because it's like, you got to have some B-sides, you got to have some rarities, you know, you got to, like, if you want a mixture live and stuff like that, like Space Ritual here. My personal favorite, Hall of the Mountain Grill. You know, it's like they have these gatefold replicas, which is a nice little slip covers. Do re mi fa si la ti do. They got whatever, I forget what this one is off the top of my head.
Just self-titled. Yeah.
Yeah, that's first name. Yeah.
Thank you. Nothing about In Search of Space. I mean, there are some nicer ones, but honestly, for this price, I think it was like, what, 70 or something like that, because I know that speaking of Max Webster, they have the same thing. But honestly, I think that this is a better deal, because it's just gives you a whole nice mixture of everything, live, B-sides, and their
and they were so prolific in the 70s, so you get all of it there.
Yeah.
So a nice mixture. And because if you just go on progarchives.com, they just have probably at least a dozen or so compilation, just like, which one do you choose? You go back to the classic era, and you're pretty much just good from there. And thankfully, it's not that big. It's not that big. It's
Hey, it takes a lot less space on the shelf than because I have every single one of those in regular dual case CDs, right? Because of course they always come out with those after you've already gone out and bought the whole thing, right? The whole catalog. I love when they do that, but that's a nice set.
Plus with Hawkwind, it's like, okay, so in there, Nick, you get the solidity and the order of the original catalog, and then it starts unraveling and they throw in some weird stuff, right? It's always the case, right? It's always like, okay, here's some of the normal stuff that everybody needs. And now let's just like go off on a wing, and because we got all this extra stuff, and let's just throw something in, right?
Yeah, right. Good, yeah. Great for the consumer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Martin, back to you.
Okay, so my next one, I'm going with one of my favorite bands of all time, The Jam, with this great box set from the 90s. So there was one of your classic shapes that you got from the 90s, right?
Yep.
And again, like the Roxy music, but better. You get essentially everything the Jam ever did. And the really nice thing about getting everything the Jam ever did is that there are a lot of, non-LP tracks, and they're all in very attractive little, four little, I think it's four, is it five? No, five, six, five of these little things with a different guitar on the front of every one. And, the booklet is a huge, big, thick booklet with great credits. Tons of pictures, lots and lots of smart liner text. I hate when these box sets, the more corporate and the more American they are, frankly, is when you get the lazy liner notes, right? With the generalities and the vagueness and not a lot of research. But this is a good liner essay with the text being big enough that you can read it. And like I say, full credits. And as the sticker says, 5 CD box set, 117 digitally remastered tracks, including 22 previously unreleased recordings, 6 B-sides on CD for the first time, 88-page booklet, liner notes, gig list, discography, memorabilia, rare photos. So, I loved when you would get something like this, because for me, my most practical way pretty much of really actually playing music to enjoy it is on my iPod Classics, which I play in the car or walking around or jogging around. So I basically took this entire box set, slammed the whole thing onto the iPod. So it's all there in the proper place. And just as a sort of adjunct or kind of an honorable mention is the Police one, which does the same thing, just takes everything they ever did with all the B-sides and puts it all in one place. So it's the best of both worlds. All those rare tracks is the thing that makes you buy the box set and makes you justify buying it, where you go, well, I really don't have all this. I don't have those singles and all that, even though I've had the vinyl albums for years. But when you get that stuff, that's what makes you go out and get the box set and be immersed, as Pink Floyd would say, immersion box sets. Right?
Yeah. Cool. Nice set. All right. Let's see. All right. I've got next two are a couple more recent ones, and I'll go back a little further. So I'm a huge fan of Jimi Hendrix, and I've long had this fascination with the Band of Gypsys album. Of course, the live album that Jimmy and Buddy Miles and Billy Cox recorded on the weekend of New Year's Eve, 1969, going into 1970 at the Fillmore East in New York City. And as most people know, that Band of Gypsys album was comprised of tracks from the various shows recorded during that weekend-long stint at the Fillmore. So basically, they came out with a box set just 2 years ago, I think it was, called Hendrix Songs for Groovy Children. All right, this is basically the Fillmore East concert. So this is the whole kit and caboodle. This is something they're kind of doing nowadays, this little kind of like top box thing. And inside you've got all sorts of various things, including a booklet, which has the whole history of the Fillmore concerts, the Band of Gypsys, never before seen photos and cool stuff like that. If you're a geek for this, period in the career of Hendrix, a must-have. And then you got disc 1, basically each performance. So this is December 31st, 1969, first set. Back in the day at the Fillmore East, bands would often play 2 sets, one early in the evening and one later. So this is the 8 p.m. show on December 31st, the first set. And then disc 2 is the second set, which started at 10:30. So just imagine, if you're a band, right, you play like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hour set, and then you get a half-hour break, got to go out and do it again. And this one spilled over into 1970, obviously, after midnight. And then we've got disc 3, which is the January 1st, 1970 first set at 8 o'clock. And then you've got disc 4, which is the second set from January 1st. And then you've got a continuation of the second set from this other disc. So they played 2 full sets that particular day. So a lot of stuff. What's really cool is that they varied the set list from show to show, or from set to set, I should say. So while you did get a lot of overlap on some of the songs, you also, especially on the last day, you got stuff like, Purple Haze and Hey Joe, Wild Thing, Voodoo Child, which was kind of neat because on the original Band of Gypsys album, they only included those new tracks that the band were working on. They did not include any old Hendrix classics to kind of make it seem like here's a new album from Jimi Hendrix and his new band. No repeats. So even though it's a live album, the original release did not have any of the old classics, whereas here you get all of it. And what's really interesting, and I've said this before, a lot of these 70s live albums were generally compiled of tracks from various concerts. And it's always cool when you hear some of these complete shows from these great bands from that era. and you can, you listen to them and you can tell, because those classic live albums so well in your head, you can tell which are the versions from which show. So it's always interesting going through these, like, oh yeah, that version that's from that show, from day 2, set 2, that is from the original live album, and so on and so forth. But and to me, Machine Gun, which is to me Jimi Hendrix's greatest moment ever, even though he played it every set during this weekend, the one that made it to the original Band of Gypsys live album is still by far the best. So to me, this is absolutely amazing. And that they took so long to release this is crazy. The recording sounds fantastic.
Neat. Very cool.
Yeah. It is a nice box. I can't.
Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, back to Nick.
Okay, I got to move this because this one's a monster. Everyone knows the black metal band Venom, and they recently released, I think like some time ago, released a massive box set called 40 Years in Sodom. This is a beaut. It's got a lot of neat stuff in here. Yeah, open this sucker up.
What does that weigh? About 10 pounds?
Easily. You got it from Venom Legions, this nice little giant patch you can probably just put wherever you want. I haven't looked at this in a while, so you've seen she's a piece. That's a huge poster.
Yeah, when I start throwing things like posters and stuff in there, you can't beat that.
Yeah. It's part of the curse feat,
Yep.
or in this case, the affliction, as I call it. It affects me to a point. That's like at the same time, I know you got to get it. At the same time, jeez, I'm not going to show everything, but you can tell this is promo pictures, the text.
Yeah, that's a box set. That's a box set.
Yeah. I know you go to, mind if I do a couple plugs quickly?
Yeah.
All right. I know you go to Rock Fantasy I know you go to Rock Fantasy all the time. There's this place in Ann Arbor called Ann Arbor, Michigan, Go Blue, called Encore Records. They just happen to have this, and I managed to get the price down, I think, to $100, and I think they want like 170.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you. Yeah, we got Welcome to Hell. It's got the posters in here.
Wow.
What albums does it go up to, Nick?
It's got Welcome to Hell, Black Metal, At War with Satan. Come on. Yeah, it's got that. It's got Possessed.
Yeah. That's the natural place to stop, right?
Yeah. And then
does it stop there or does it keep going?
There's a couple more. Latin one.
Yeah, the live stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's a great live album. Yeah.
Because Primeval would be next, I think, right?
And it finally concludes with Rare and Unleashed. Rare and Unreleased, sorry.
So it's literally the classic era kind of thing.
Yeah.
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 That's pretty cool.
One more thing. Colossal guitar pick mag.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the odds are that Chris Allo has that in his collection?
Probably. I'm guessing he's probably watching, so it's like it's the curse.
Actually, that looks like an Ouija board planchette, right? Isn't it?
That's pretty neat.
It's got the hole
Yeah.
at the bottom, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right here.
Yeah.
I guess you can say it's literally one hell of a box set.
Yeah, I would say so. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I would think any big time Venom fan who is collecting vinyl still, that's a must have. Yeah. Nice. All right, Martin, back to you.
Okay, this is absolutely one of my favorites. It's the first one I thought of. The Andy Partridge Fuzzy Warbles Collector's Album. I might have shown this when we did the XTC show, but of course, Andy Partridge, leader of XTC. I don't know if you could see it here, but it's essentially 8 volumes of demos. And yeah, a lot of these are like really cool, basically lost XTC songs or versions of XTC songs. But the neat thing about it is it's set up like a stamp collector's album, right? So all the CDs are themed along stamps like this. So 8 things in it, little stickers. There's more of the discs, and this is what the inside looks like. More of the stuff here. There's your booklet that tells you everything that's going on, and then yeah, hold that up. So that's what the inside looks like. There's the front cover again, spine. So yeah, just kind of like put together like your fond memories of being a stamp collector as a kid. And it's got all these things, and then there's the last disc is called Hinges on it, and just sort of as an adjunct to show how prolific these guys were. The XTC box set itself, this Coat of Many Cupboards, is mostly all rarities. So it's like you take the Fuzzy Warbles together with this, and you get tons and tons of rarities. So I don't know if XTC ever did one of these, every album kind of put together box sets. It's probably something I would buy. I've never really checked, but yeah, tons and tons of rarities on this. And then yeah, 8 tracks of Andy Partridge doing this Fuzzy Warbles box with the very playful, cool design on it. So yeah, brings back fond memories of doing that show on that with you, Pete. When we went through the XTC catalog, which was quite a trawl. And there's the Hinges one, and it tells you how to do hinges and all that kind of stuff. So there you go, Fuzzy Warbles.
Yeah, that was a fun show to do. I really, that's a good looking box set too. It kind of reminds me of the Tull box set. So you got the stamp box as opposed to the cigar box, but I think that one is a little more successful. It looks like a lot more time went into putting that one together. Very cool. All right, for another one, I'm gonna stick on a similar theme as my last one. So again, this one's fairly recently. I think this came out, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago. Another classic live album that's obviously at the time when it was originally released a little bit truncated, right? But legendary live album. Frank Zappa and the Mothers at the Roxy and elsewhere, right? Well, here we finally got, after many years of the Zappa family talking about it, we got the Roxy performances, which is basically all the entire shows played during that run at the Roxy from Frank Zappa and the Mothers. And again, this is one of those like clamshell box things, and cool booklet. Yeah, I just love stuff like this. As you get some of these big lavish box sets, and you get these more compact ones, and they're both good for what they are. But then, here, disc 1 from December 9th, show 1, disc 2 is a continuation of that, disc 3. I mean, it's from all of the entire run. And again, you get all these different versions played on different dates from that particular run at the Roxy, plus all the other stuff, right? So again, the original Roxy album had a mix of a couple of older tracks and some newer stuff that the band was working on. Here you get everything, which is really cool. But it's just kind of, again, it's interesting to listen to this. And as you're going through each of the discs, you're like, oh yeah, that version was on the original album. Oh, that's different. That one's pretty cool. And to hear some of these extended pieces and all the stuff that didn't make the album, very, very cool. I mean, I think for any Zappa fan, this was always the holy grail. I remember for years and years, when are they going to release all the Roxy performances? When are they going to release that? When are they going to release that? Then it finally came out, and I think this was like everybody who was a Zappa fan was talking about this at the time. So now we got all of it finally, just like the Band of Gypsies thing. So pretty cool, in my opinion, when they do stuff like this. Why they wait so long to release them, I don't know, but I guess better late than never, right? So there you have it.
Cool.
And that cover is just amazing. Frank with his SG, smoking his cigarettes. Typical Frank. Right. Back to Nick.
All right. Ready for my fourth one. Of course, we got Jethro Tull, of course. And I'll have to admit that they chose the right person, Stephen Wilson, to be able to go ahead and produce all these, specifically War Child. That, in my opinion, I think this is one of the rare ones. Because I was doing some prices on eBay and Amazon. They wanted like $300 for this. And I'm just like, oof, thank goodness I got mine. There's a store called, going to do one more plug, a store called Rock of Ages in Garden City, Michigan. Coincidentally, there's a street called, wait for it, Pardo, about 50 to 100 feet back. So if that's not
really, wow,
yes. So you can tell the 100-page liner notes. Got this.
Wow.
Yeah. These prices are just becoming obfuscatingly stupid, and just some people.
Yeah, you know, with the Tull stuff, if you don't buy it when it first comes out, man, it's snooze you lose. That's I don't have, the only ones I don't have is that one and Songs from the Wood. I have all the other ones.
Yeah,
Songs from the Wood you can still get. It's expensive, but you can still get for fairly reasonable. That one though is hard to find, and when you see a copy somewhere, it's like, oof. So I'm very jealous. Very cool.
That's the thing with boxes like that, or even expensive books like coffee table books that are colored throughout or whatever. It's like, soon as that original run is over, there's a pretty high threshold of thinking you have enough back orders to reprint it, right? So in that case, you know, the sales dwindle or whatever, and then it's like, there's no way we can put, you know, Jethro Tull War Child back on the presses, right?
No. Yeah, because is there enough warrant or potential sales to print up another 2,000 or 3,000 of them, right? Maybe not. But there's always going to be that, you know, couple hundred people who didn't buy it the first time around, desperately want one. And then you've got folks who are reselling them, or guys who have original stock that all of a sudden now are, you know, jacking up the price 2 and 3 times. So yeah, it's tough.
That's the neat thing about box sets, because they have so much assembly to them, and, you know, fragile parts and different parts made in all sorts of different areas. So yeah, you've got to get them. If you want it, you got to get it right away, because it's not going to stay in print.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Martin, what do you got next?
All right, so my next one is the you know, the box set that really is the gold standard of box sets, and excitement about box sets really is the whole Nuggets situation. Now, obviously, the Nuggets sets started as vinyl albums back in the old days, but when they made box sets out of them, they were beautiful. They were, you know, this classic shape. And what I like about these is that, as with the original Nuggets albums, they really got, and the it's Lenny K liner notes, right? With the original, with this many liner notes and with the original boxes, it really got people re-excited again about psych, to go back and learn psych. And what I did when I got these boxes is, because every single song has a pretty good long biographical essay about what's going on, you would just simply play along, you know, the disc, and play one song and read the whole thing and play another one. Because, you know, psych music, Pete, we often talk about the whole you had to be there or you didn't have to be there idea, right? You know, a psych song, a little 2-minute psych song on its own from 1966, garage rock, psych, whatever you want to call it. Garage goes into psych. Garage is even more less impressive than psych is, right? Because not a lot goes on, right? So if you're not there at the time, it's lacking that magic, and you're just going, this is a really rudimentary, simple, not exciting thing. And that's why when you're forced to just like treat it like slow food and sit there and read about the band and play the song before you move on to the next one and try it again, and see what, you know, what Lenny is saying about the production or the lyric, or, you know, this singer died or whatever. All of that makes it much more interesting for you. So this is like just a cool little scholarly thing where you just go through it track by track, and it really raises your appreciation of it. And then a whole second Nuggets there. I mean, look at how many songs are on these things.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just insane, because these psych songs were, you know, 2 minutes, 2.5, rarely over 3 minutes kind of thing. So you get a really great history of the whole psych thing, and it almost turns you into he gets you being a fanatic about the whole thing. But yeah, those were nice ones. And they're Rhino, right? Yeah, Rhino has always been a great box set maker, right?
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's cool, because that's something, if you're looking to kind of investigate that genre of music, right, that's the best place to start.
Yeah.
So much there included. Wow, that's pretty cool. Nice. All right. So let's go back to the 90s. So this particular one, we were talking off air before we started about how a lot of times in the, when the box set craze started in the 90s, you had a lot of sets that were coming out that were just basically like glorified greatest hits compilations with maybe some, some live stuff or some alternate takes or whatever, and booklets and things. So I bought a bunch of those back in the day. And then after I got them, I'm like, I have all this stuff already, right? But this particular one is the complete opposite of that. And what I love about this box set, again, I'm not an enormous fan of this artist, but I do like his music. But this is what a box set should be all about. Bruce Springsteen tracks. This is basically 4 discs of all unreleased stuff that was recorded during sessions for albums that was never released and not included on the original albums, alternate takes of certain stuff that we're aware that we've heard before, B-sides that were never released on albums, just all sorts of great material from throughout. I mean, this basically encompasses 1972 to 1978. That's the career in Springsteen that this encompasses. So a little bit of all in his classic period here. But I mean, you get all sorts of great things on here. Mary Queen of Arkansas, It's Hard to Be a Saint in the City, Good Man is Hard to Find, Ricky Wants a Man of Her Own, Leaving Train, what else? Frankie TV movie, Thundercrack, all sorts of stuff on here. And then you've got this pretty cool presentation. Right, so each and all of the discs are they're like CDs, right? In like a little digipack or digibook things, but they're actually attached to the box set, which is kind of neat. So here, it's kind of hard to show on camera, but then you open it up this way. And you've got, the 2 more here. And then you've got in the middle, you've got the book. All sorts of information on all of the tracks and kind of their origins, when they were recorded, who played on them, the classic E Street guys, the stuff from the 80s and the 90s. Obviously, it's kind of like a mixed bag as far as like who appears on them. You get, when Bruce was doing the strictly solo thing there. So, but a real, and again, it's not everything is great on here, but I think if you're a kind of a completist of an artist, or in this case, Springsteen, and you wanted to hear like all those nuggets, it's kind of like the Jethro Tull thing all over again, right? It's like some bands, just when they went into the studio to record an album, they recorded, they didn't just have 10 songs they were working on. They would record 20 or 25. They would use whatever they would use for the album, and then they would either trash the rest or they just kind of hold on to it in the vaults. Well, in the case of Jethro Tull and Ian Anderson and Bruce Springsteen, they had lots of stuff in the vault. So pretty cool. If you're at all a fan of Springsteen, I highly recommend getting this if you can still get a copy. I bought this when it first came out, and and again, it's big and long and doesn't really fit on, wouldn't be able to fit this on any of my shelves, but cool nonetheless. So
Nice.
Back to Nick.
All righty, and we got the last one, so I figured I would show arguably what is the rarest and this just most fucking coolest, sexiest one. Took me a while to find this one, UK Ultimate Collector's Edition.
Wow, you just got that, right?
I had it, yeah. Really nice. It's got 16 discs.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy, Martin? A band that only released 2 studio albums, right?
Yeah. Wow. That's nice.
And because of all the ones I've shown, it's like compilation of stuff from the 70s. It's got all the it's got a whole bunch of liner notes and stuff like that. And I show them the Jethro Tull set, and it's like, this is all really cool, but I figure the best way to conclude this would be one that truly expands on a most legendary band with their albums, and also just a surreal amount of live stuff.
I was going to say, wow. So how much, I don't know how far you've gotten into that yet, but how much live stuff from the first lineup of the band with Holdsworth is on and Bruford is on there? It's probably, I would assume it's probably a fair amount.
It's a fair amount. Let's see, we've got The UK, let's see, disc 1 is the original album, the extras, the Blu-ray audio, high fidelity, 24-bit, 96K Abbey Road remaster, live in Boston, Philadelphia, and Cleveland. The Boston one is at the Paradise Theater, July 11th, 78. Philadelphia is at Penn's Landing, August 8th, 1978. And live in Cleveland, a radio broadcast at Gore Ballroom, September 18th, 1978. So
Anthony Ferrara, if you're watching, I think you have something you need to go out and look for.
yeah, because I was scouring Amazon and eBay for a while for it, and unavailable, just completely unavailable.
Yeah, they probably didn't make many of those.
Yeah. And then the live stuff, of course.
Wow.
That's quality right there.
Yeah.
And then the reunion as well. Reunion stuff doesn't say remix from the digital multi-track, doesn't say what year though. Yeah, because there are some websites where people are charging upwards of $750 last I checked, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
That's pretty cool. I didn't know I had all that live stuff on it. That's wow.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Just finish up here. Yeah. This, I can definitely say this is truly a beautiful, arguably just stupidly beautiful, gorgeous as hell set. So, and that's my last one.
That's a lot of material. Wow, awesome. Very cool. All right, Martin, I don't know if you and I can top that one here, but
no, I definitely I've got kind of a modest one here, but I just want to make a point. One thing I've been noticing lately, I know, Pete, you haven't, your head isn't arranged around the idea of Spotify being significant in your life yet, kind of thing. But one of the interesting things about all these box sets is that it's really, really hit or miss whether the box set version of a particular album is going to be on Spotify or not. So sometimes one of the extra bonuses of having these box sets is that it won't be available on Spotify, or it's a little harder. And then YouTube, of course, has even more things than Spotify has, but you have to really want to check them out and search them out. So that's kind of the other cool thing about these boxes. My last one is I picked something that I felt had a little bit of the obscure theme, and it feels like it's got a little bit of the UK theme. Although the Saints, one of my favorite bands from Australia, punk band, they became kind of a Celtic band later on. Interesting stuff. But I've got a few of these like this. The Nick Lowe comes to mind, where they're just very compact, all business. It's the small size, and this gives you 4 discs. And what I like about this is that it is also the complete full albums of the awesome debut I'm Stranded, the second album Eternally Yours, and the third album Prehistoric Sounds, which was a big departure for them. And disc 4 is Live in London 1977. But you get everything in one place, plus all the rarities, and they have a lot of rarities. And the booklet is amazing as well. For such a small, obscure band, you get a beautiful booklet with a lot of text. So it's just great getting all this in one place. Having said that, I think I have the second album, Eternally Yours, which is one of my top 3 probably punk albums of all time. It's a killer album. I think I have that in a pretty expanded form as well, but this is just a great way to get these things. And I think this was, it says originally from Australia. I don't know if this is only Australia. Oh yeah, this is printed in Australia, this one. So 2004, this came out. So yeah, love it. Love it when these things are small and compact like that, but has everything you want in them. And just something else sitting on my desk that I thought I'd mention, because I saw Pete did a review of it, Rick's new album, right? Yep. So I got my copy of Rick's new album in recently and been playing this. It's awesome. It's so surprising song to song. I've never heard an album like this where the styles, you have no idea what kind of styles come in the next song on it. And it's gorgeously recorded and stuff as well. The performances are good, but yeah, I just, and it's a double album, 24 songs on it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. Yeah, Rick sent me one of those. It's great to see a Sea of Tranquility guy who's so talented.
I know.
So, yeah.
And it's great. So so many memorable songs on it too, right? Like one after another. You just like, after you listen to it like twice, you're like, oh, you start remembering all those songs. They keep popping up in your head. I'm like,
Exactly. Yeah.
pretty cool, right? Yeah. And lots of different styles on it. And yeah, definitely good stuff, Rick. We love you, Rick. We love you, Rick. All right. My last choice for today here, another kind of big long one, because this is how they did them back in the day. They have now, this is long out of print, but they have now taken all the content on these and put them on 2 double disc CD releases, of which I bought those 2. Don't know why, but I did. The Great Deceiver, King Crimson, which Ian McDonald, may he rest in peace, not from this lineup, but from the original lineup. So this is basically the classic lineup from 73, 74. All right, so that's Robert Fripp, Bill Bruford, John Wetton, David Cross, in my opinion, the greatest lineup of this band. And this is just savage recordings from that particular tour. You get the full show from the Palace Theater, Providence, Rhode Island, June 30th, 1974. You've got Walk On to Glasgow Apollo, October 23rd, 1973. Some stuff from Penn State University, June 29th, 1974. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Stanley Warner Theater, April 29th, 1974. More stuff from Penn State. It's kind of like plastered all around here. I think the Penn State recordings, they just kind of like used to fill in the ends of some of these CDs. You got Toronto, Massey Hall, June 24th, 1974. Were you at that show, Martin?
No. I was definitely not even close to being in Toronto by that point.
Right.
Here in '89. So, yeah.
And Zurich, Switzerland, November 15th, 1973. Mostly the same set list from disc to disc, from show to show, but the improvs are all different. And that's what was so cool about this particular band, is that every night they would do these different improvs, and they get clam show opening. So each disc and each show is fairly different. So you got the big huge book. You got the discs are all housed in there. What they did for, the discs all have this kind of like card trick thing on the covers. The covers and the artwork for the newer releases are actually much cooler than that. But the booklet is where it's at, even though it is kind of hard to read and navigate through. But you get all sorts of information on the shows, with lots of detailed notes from the man himself, Robert Fripp, as well as live photos from some of the shows and things like that. So at the time when this came out, now since they released this, man, we've gotten like 1 million King Crimson live albums that have come out, stuff from the vaults from all the different years, all the different lineups. So we've gotten spoiled over the years, but at the time this was like a revelation. That's the 4 guys right there. So I think this kind of started it all when they released this in the 90s, and we've seen a plethora of King Crimson live stuff since then. But kind of like the Grateful Dead, man. It's like the amount of live albums that King Crimson has, staggering. All right, Nick, you got any honorable mentions?
Any honorable mentions? I don't have the props with me, but I do want to tell a little joke that'll lead into it.
Okay.
All right, so why did Miles Davis angrily return a Ford F-350 truck / lorry?
Yeah.
Well, he thought that the F, instead of like F sharp, he thought that it stood for fuel, and the 350 stood for 350 miles per gallon. So he went home and angrily wrote a song called 0 Miles to the Gallon. I don't have it with me, but I do have the complete Columbia collection. It's got all the live stuff. It's got all the albums he released, I think, from 49 up until the 80s. And I was hoping that there would be a song called 0 Miles to the Gallon, but apparently not. But, you can find it online for good price. And, it's like, rather than buying all the damn vinyl, because price of it is like $40. It's just,
yeah, that's a massive set, and it's got everything you'd want. Good stuff. Yeah. Cool. Martin, how about you?
Well, I thought about the Aerosmith Box of Fire with the little match on it. That was really cool. Nice design. The Who Quadrophenia is amazing because of the notes. The Beatles White Album is incredible. I talk about a proper immersion box, better than the Pink Floyd immersion boxes, because there's so many notes to them, right? There's lots of stuff to read, and the immersion boxes kind of let you down on that. There's not a lot to read. There's more like a lot of doodads in them, which is starting to be the theme, right, of these things. The heavy metal box made like an amplifier, because I got to do a whole bunch of liner notes for that. That was like every song I got to write notes on the whole history of heavy metal. So that was a cool one that got put together. I think that was Rhino. Those two Genesis Archives ones, I love. Yeah. Those are such great early classics of this, where it's still fresh at the time where you're actually starting to get a lot of rarities of these things, and you're really appreciative of getting rarities, right? I've got a couple of insane, there's a Gentle Giant one and a family one that just go so deep down the rabbit hole. Those are really cool. Yeah, there we go.
Was that the one you're talking about?
I think so.
Scraping the barrel?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, with and it really scrapes the barrel.
Oh, yeah.
It's insane. It's just, yeah, it's a little too far. It's not even really particularly enjoyable, but it's amusing, right?
Yeah.
And then Clash on Broadway was a great one as well, just to give you all of those rarities, all those non-LP things, all kind of in one place, and it's a nice, well put together box. So yeah, there's some fond memories of well played box sets.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I got a couple here too. You mentioned Genesis. There's also this one, the Genesis Archive, 67 to 75, which came out, I believe, right around the same time as that King Crimson set. And this has, some rarities, a couple leftover tracks, some alternate takes and things like that. Cool booklet. I mean, that's, it's kind of one of these things, the booklet slides out. And, if you're a Genesis fan, you got to have it, right?
I like the second one even more. I mean, those two as a set are just really cool, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then kind of similar to the Zappa and the Hendrix thing, the UFO Strangers in the Night box set, which basically pulls together like 8 discs of different shows from the Strangers in the Night tour, the UFO Obsession tour. And again, this is really cool because that album was taken from recordings from various shows. So here you have a whole bunch of the shows where those tracks from that classic live album were drawn from, and here you get the whole show. So it's, again, kind of cool to listen to this and try to say, okay, yeah, that's the version of Doctor Doctor, or that's the version of this song or that song. And again, you get all of them in little kind of cardboard Japanese style mini LP sleeves. And then last but not least, this is one that was gifted to me from Mr. Nick over there. Mata Hoople, Mental Train, The Island Years, 69 to 71. Cool box set here that's got a bunch of their original albums, right? And this is one of those, opens up at the top. And you've got the cool book, which tells you a little bit of the history of Mata Hoople. Lots of cool information, photos, and stuff like that. You get like a little poster, and you get like some live stuff. You get a disc called The Ballads of, and then you get the original albums themselves.
Nice.
Yeah. Pretty cool. This for me was good because, I didn't have any Mata Hoople at all. And this gives you like all that early stuff. And then there's really only a couple other ones to get that are outside of this particular collection. So this was a really great starter. Thank you, Nick.
You're welcome.
And, all sorts of cool stuff. And I like these, like Martin mentioned before, it's nice when you get these little compact box sets, right? Because these can fit on a shelf fairly easily. They don't stick out like a sore thumb. So.
Yeah, I mean, these box sets, I mean, they make you slow down and take this all more seriously, right? Yeah. You're reading along and you're listening along, and it really makes you appreciate what's on them more, right?
Yeah, because with the box sets, it's not just about the music, right? It's about the history and all the detailed information. And that's, if you're a fan, if you're a music nerd, I mean, that's kind of part of it all, right? So,
right.
Yeah, they know very well, the labels who put these things out, they know very well who their audience is. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely not someone who owns, probably a half a dozen CDs and listens to the radio 5 hours a day. It's not that person.
Right.
So cool. Well, this was fun, and I want to thank Nick for coming on the show here. I know box sets is definitely his thing, so this was a perfect example to get you on Sea of Tranquility. So thanks for doing that. And Martin, what's going on over in your neck of the woods?
Boy, I don't know. We've still got the podcast, History in 5 Songs with Martin Popoff. I got to come up with a new one. The last one was on glam rock from 71 to 75 in the UK. I think I might do an American response to glam for that. We've got the Contrarians and any of my books, martinpopoff.com.
Cool. Nick, any final words for today before we sign off?
The curse is real, folks. It's real. I'm trying to keep myself in control. I'm doing what I can. Currently organizing my basement and really just trying to make it work. It's a work in progress. I do what I need to do. And Martin, I've always appreciated your erudition because I got your collector's guide, the heavy metal.
Oh, thanks, man.
I was 15 back in 2005. And I'm 31, almost 32 now. So it's like, it's always got to try and just look for new metal bands and just try and just support them and just try and keep rocking as much as you can.
Yeah. Cool. Very nice.
Cool. And we are working on a Curse is Real shirt. So hopefully by sometime this year, we'll have that available on the merch page. So stay tuned for more on that. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all together, all the damn time. For Nick Yousoufian and Martin Popoff, I am Pete Pardo. See you next week here at the Funhouse, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.